There is a message from God that has been echoing through the corridors of eternity, and it's directed at you, woman. This message is not whispered in confusion. It is not clouded in mystery. It is clear, it is divine, and it is urgent. God is calling every woman to rise up, not in rebellion, but in revelation of who you are, why you are, and what He placed inside of you. You were never a mistake. You were never an afterthought in the mind of God. In fact, the woman was the last thing God created. And in Hebrew culture, the last thing made is considered the culmination, the finest expression of the Creator's intent. That means you are not less. You are the final touch, the exclamation point of creation. Heaven paused after you arrived. You are not who the world says you are. You are not who broken relationships try to define you as. You are not what social media portrays or what your past shouts. Your identity is encoded in the mind of God. Before a man ever saw you, God already knew you. And He did not make you to chase validation. He made you to reflect revelation. God placed in you the power to incubate vision, nurture potential, and bring forth life, not just biologically, but spiritually, emotionally, and culturally. When God wanted to redeem the world, He didn't just send a man, He sent a word to a woman, because even heaven knows nothing enters the earth without passing through a woman. That is not weakness. That is dominion. You are not just a helper, you are help suitable. That means you are customized by God to complete what others cannot. You carry answers in your intuition. You walk with discernment in your silence. You heal with your presence. That is not emotionalism, that is divine engineering. And if you ever understood the weight of who you are, you'd stop apologizing for how God made you. There are voices all around trying to distract you, telling you who to be, what to wear, how to act. But there is another voice. It is the voice of your Creator, and He is still speaking. But to hear Him, you must silence the noise of rejection, the noise of fear, the noise of comparison. He is saying, daughter, you are mine. You are chosen. You are necessary. You were not born just to survive or serve others' dreams. You were born to birth nations, steward purpose, and leave a legacy that outlives you. Some of you are carrying spiritual pregnancies, dreams, businesses, ministries, ideas that the world desperately needs. And God is saying, push. The contractions you feel are not signs of weakness. They are the evidence that something powerful is about to be born through you. So hear this now. God's message to you is not in tomorrow. It is in this moment. He is not waiting on you to be perfect. He is waiting on you to believe. He's saying, I have placed greatness in you, not to make you proud, but to reveal my glory through you. Let the healing begin. Let the purpose rise. Let the woman God made you to be stand up and say, here I am, Lord, send me. You were created with purpose, not as an afterthought. Before the foundations of the world were laid, you were in the mind of God. He did not create you out of boredom or as a backup plan. He created you because there was a divine assignment that could only be fulfilled through your existence. Your presence on this earth is not random. It is intentional, strategic, and vital. Everything about you, your personality, your design, your intuition, your capacity to feel deeply and love fully was crafted by the Creator with a specific reason in mind. When God created man, He said it was not good for him to be alone, and out of man, He formed the woman. But don't be deceived by the order of creation. God doesn't do anything without purpose. The woman was not made to be a mere assistant to man, but to complete what was incomplete. She was created as the final expression of God's creative genius. In God's eyes, you are not second class. You are not a filler. You are not an accessory to someone else's life. You are a reflection of God's glory, designed to multiply, nurture, and bring forth life in more ways than one. You carry within you the ability to transform atmospheres, to turn houses into homes and ideas into legacy. Your ability to discern, to empathize, to see potential where others see problems. That's not weakness. That is divine gifting. God didn't make a mistake when he made you a woman. He made you on purpose for purpose. And no matter who has overlooked you, diminished your value, or questioned your worth, heaven still knows exactly why you're here. The world needs what you carry. Your very existence is evidence that God still has a plan that includes you, requires you, and depends on you. Your identity is defined by God, not by culture or society. From the moment you were conceived, heaven had already spoken a word over your life. That word was not confused, forgotten, or not enough. That word was chosen, called, anointed, and mine. God didn't wait for the world to label you before he gave you value. He established your worth before you ever took your first breath. But culture has a way of trying to redefine what God has already authored. It will try to shape your identity by your appearance, your status, your relationship, your success, or your failure. Society will tell you who you should be, how you should behave, and what standard you should meet to be considered valuable. But none of those voices have the authority to name you. Only the Creator has the right to define his creation. The world did not make you, so it cannot name you. God formed you, and when he formed you, he spoke destiny into your being. He didn't call you weak. He called you strong. He didn't call you ordinary. He called you set apart. You are not the result of trends or timelines. You are the result of a divine blueprint that carries eternal significance. You are not made to fit in. You are designed to stand out. God never asked the culture who you are. He declared it before they had a say. The moment you begin to see yourself through his eyes, everything changes. You stop chasing approval and start walking in authority. You stop living by comparison and start living with conviction. You stop shrinking to please people and start expanding to please God. No matter what the world says, you must remember this truth. Your identity was not voted on. It was spoken by the one who knew you before you were even formed. God speaks through your design. You carry the womb of destiny. Nothing about you is random. Your physical form, your emotional depth, your spiritual sensitivity, and your nurturing nature are not by chance. They are messages, divine signatures, written into your very being. God communicates purpose through design. And the way he designed you as a woman speaks volumes about your assignment on earth. He gave you a womb, not just to carry children, but to carry vision, to carry purpose, to carry nations. That womb is not just physical, it is spiritual. It is the inner capacity to receive, incubate, protect, and release what others cannot even see. When God wants to do something great in the earth, he sends a word. But that word doesn't manifest until it finds a womb. You are that womb. You are the gateway between heaven and earth. That's why the enemy targets you, not because you are weak, but because you are powerful. Because in you lies the ability to nurture something divine, something eternal, something that can transform generations. Your ability to conceive isn't limited to biology. You conceive ideas, ministries, businesses, movements, and dreams. You are not just a woman. You are a carrier of destiny. The reason you feel spiritual weight, emotional warfare, or deeper restlessness at times is because something inside of you is kicking, something divine is growing. And just like a pregnancy, it's often uncomfortable, inconvenient, and even painful. But that's the sign that purpose is alive in you. Don't ignore what you're carrying. Don't abort it because others don't understand it. Don't silence it because culture doesn't validate it. God trusted you with it because he designed you for it. Every time you nurture a dream, every time you protect a vision, every time you push past fear to birth something bigger than you are proving that your design is not an accident. It's a message from God. Your influence is divine and strategic, not accidental. You are placed on this earth with a specific assignment, and your presence in your family, your community, your workplace, and this generation is intentional. You are not just filling space, you are fulfilling purpose. God didn't create you to be silent in the background while the world spins without your input. He designed you to be a voice, a force, and a light. Every gift you have, every instinct you carry, every burden you feel, it is all connected to your divine influence. There is nothing casual about your positioning, where you were born, what you've been through, who you've encountered. All of it has been woven together by the hand of God to equip you for influence. You don't need a title to have impact. You don't need a platform to be powerful. Influence is not measured by followers. It's measured by faithfulness. And when God breathes on your life, even your smallest action can produce supernatural results. The enemy fears your influence because it disrupts darkness. That's why he tries to convince you that you're too emotional, too broken, too late, or too quiet. But the truth is, your influence was never supposed to fit the mold of the world. It was meant to shift the atmosphere. When you speak truth in love, when you walk in wisdom, when you nurture without losing your identity, when you lead with grace and strength, you are functioning in divine strategy. God didn't design you to blend in. He designed you to be a strategic answer in the places where confusion reigns. Your influence heals, it awakens, it corrects, it uplifts, and it transforms. Never underestimate what your obedience can trigger in someone else's destiny. You are not here by accident. You are a divine interruption to the plans of the enemy and a living strategy of God's purpose in motion. You are not a helper because you are weaker, but because you are powerful. When God said, I will make a helper suitable for him, he was not creating someone inferior. He was revealing someone essential. The word helper in the original Hebrew is Ezer, a word used more than a dozen times in the Old Testament to describe God himself as a helper to Israel. So understand this, being called a helper is not a demotion, it's a divine elevation. It means you carry within you the strength, wisdom, and presence to support, stabilize, and strengthen what would otherwise collapse. God never gives help where help is not needed. Help is not weakness. It's reinforcement. It's backup. It's strategic power. The helper is the one who fills in the gaps, who sees what others don't, who brings balance to chaos and clarity to confusion. And that's what you do. You see things others overlook. You discern what others dismiss. You feel what others ignore. That's not emotional sensitivity. It's spiritual intelligence. That's God's wisdom flowing through your design. The enemy wants to pervert the meaning of your role so you question your worth. But your value is not in comparison, it's in contribution. Without the woman, the picture of God's image remains incomplete. God took something out of man, not to make him less, but to reveal what was missing. And what came forth was not weakness, it was wonder. Power that is quiet, but unshakable. Influence that is subtle, but unstoppable. You are powerful enough to help without losing yourself. Strong enough to support without being silent. Wise enough to follow God's voice, even when others don't understand. Your ability to help is not a limitation. It is evidence that you are built with divine strength. Heaven trusted you with the role because only someone powerful could carry it. Silence the noise. God's voice is still speaking to you. In a world filled with distractions, opinions, comparisons, and constant pressure to perform, it can become difficult to discern the voice of the one who created you. The noise is loud. It tells you who you should be, what you lack, how far behind you are, and why you're not enough. But deep within your spirit, beyond the confusion and chaos, there is a still small voice. That voice is steady. That voice is truth. That voice is God. He has not gone silent. He has not stopped speaking. But his voice doesn't compete with the world. It waits for stillness. God does not shout to be heard over the noise of culture. He whispers into quiet hearts, those who are willing to tune out the world so they can tune into him. If you're always surrounded by noise, you'll begin to mistake activity for purpose and applause for affirmation. But God is not found in the crowd. He is found in the quiet place. And in that place, he reminds you who you are. He says, you are loved, you are chosen, you are equipped, you are seen. But if your soul is too cluttered with fear, busyness, and striving, you will miss the very words that can restore your strength. God's voice brings direction when you're confused, peace when you're overwhelmed, and correction when you're off course. His voice doesn't condemn. It calls you back. His voice doesn't pressure, it invites. And his voice doesn't echo the lies of the world. It releases the truth that sets you free. There are answers waiting in his presence. There is healing in his whisper. But you must make room. Lay aside the weight of constant motion. Stop measuring your worth by noise. Turn down the volume of the world so you can turn up the clarity of heaven. God is still speaking. The question is, are you still listening? You were born to birth more than children. You birth nations, visions, and legacy. God placed within you a capacity that reaches far beyond biology. The womb he gave you is a symbol of something much deeper than reproduction. It is a divine container for destiny. Whether you bear physical children or not, you are still a mother of purpose, a carrier of dreams, a vessel of vision. Your spirit was created to receive divine seeds, ideas, callings, assignments, and nurture them until they become reality in the earth. Throughout Scripture, when God wanted to change the course of history, he often started with a woman, Sarah, barren in her old age, stillbirth a nation. Hannah, weeping in the temple, gave birth to a prophet, Mary. Young and unknown, brought the Savior into the world. But long before they delivered in the physical, they believed in the spiritual. They made room in their hearts before they ever made room in their homes. That's because legacy is not just what you leave behind, it's what you give birth to while you live. You birth nations when you mentor, when you lead, when you lift others higher. You birth vision when you obey the whisper of God and pursue what others are afraid to even imagine. You birth legacy when you pour wisdom into your daughters, your sisters, your community. You don't need a pulpit to be prophetic. You don't need a title to be powerful. Your influence multiplies every time you say yes to God's purpose. The world may try to reduce you to your function, but heaven sees your fullness. You were not born to just exist. You were born to release something eternal. Inside of you are books, movements, ministries, solutions, healing, creativity, and strategies the world hasn't seen yet. And every time you say yes to what God placed inside of you, you shift history. You were born to carry more than life. You were born to carry destiny. Woman, heaven is still waiting on your yes. Not a yes to fear, to pressure, or to the voices of this world, but a yes to purpose, to identity, to the divine assignment God placed inside of you. You are not just surviving. You are chosen to build, to birth, to bless, and to break every barrier set against you. You are not invisible to God. You are his masterpiece, his strategy, his answer in the earth. It is time to silence every lie that told you you're too late, too broken, too unworthy. God is not finished with you. The dreams you buried, he remembers. The prayers you whispered, he heard. The battles you fought in silence, he saw. And now he calls you to rise, not just for yourself, but for the generations coming through you. You carry destiny in your hands, power in your voice, and legacy in your soul. Don't shrink. Don't hide. Don't wait for permission. Step into the fullness of who you are. Because when a woman hears God's voice, believes his word, and walks in her purpose, nothing on earth can stop what heaven has started in her. You are not just a woman. You are a move of God. Now go birth what only you can carry.